friends, welcome back to our series where Aaron and I enjoy snacks and have casual, unscripted conversations about things that we are passionate about, like personal finance, investing, trading, and entrepreneurship. Join us for a blend of light-hearted conversations and deep dives into things that fascinate us, ranging from the philosophical to the technical and sometimes even comical. Oh, no. Think of this series as us inviting you guys to our home for a hangout. So grab a snack, get comfortable, and
let's get started.
Anyway, today guys, we'll be talking about social comparison and spending money.
You and your need for external validation. Alright, so let's talk about external validation today. What was it?
Social comparison. What a Freudian slip. Today we're going to be talking about social comparison and how that affects the way we spend money, right?
Yeah.
So the first question that we wrote is, how does social comparison affect the way we spend money?
I think when I was younger,
You had no money.
I had no money, but there was still a lot of social comparison. I think both of us grew up when social media started to get big. And back a long time ago, it was Facebook. I never got into Facebook. I only jumped straight into Instagram.
Oh, I definitely was on Facebook. But on Facebook, was there a lot of social comparison? I mean, I feel like not as much.
But
Very, like,
Instagram,
authentic.
but then came Instagram.
Well, it became the highlight reel. Because on Facebook, when we were younger, we would upload like albums of pictures.
Yes.
And there wasn't someone that was picking out the best part, your best pictures. The worst pictures are your tag pictures on Facebook.
Yep. Oh my god, I got a lot of ugly photos on Facebook.
Yep.
But then came Instagram, right? Then that's where a lot of comparison started. And I felt like, initially I didn't care. But once I got onto Instagram, I cared a lot as well. When I was in secondary school and maybe poly. And then I guess that kind of affected the way that I spent a little bit. I was never very good at fashion, but it made me want to spend money on clothes and look better, and
Really?
it made me want to, but doesn't mean I could. I wasn't good at fashion. So I gave up, not because I didn't want to spend the money. I gave up because I just sucked at it and didn't bother. Yeah.
When Instagram first came out for me, it was a picture, an image editing app.
Oh no, when I started using it, it was like social media.
And like you would just post the thing on Instagram while you were editing the photos. But it wasn't really much for anything. I think I was in poly when it became a thing. But we would upload so many pictures as well. Even without social media, there's still social comparison in real life though.
That's true.
But that affected me more.
Right, so how did that affect you?
When I was younger, it was like magazines, media that made me want to buy stuff. Not as much social comparison, I guess, maybe. Or maybe I'm just being biased because I'm older now. I'm looking back, I'm like, I wasn't that dumb.
I mean, you're still dumb.
I feel like social comparison was the worst for me with relation to spending money when I was working in fashion.
Right, you can share more about that.
When I was working in fashion for that very brief period of time, I felt very pressured to spend a lot of money on clothes and designer bags, designer clothes, because we had a lot of media events to go to. So for some context, I used to be a fashion writer for a little bit when I first graduated from uni. It was my first job. It was a job that I wanted. It was my dream job since I was 16. Even though many people advised me against that job, I still wanted to do it anyway, just to try it out for myself. And then when I got into it, I was very happy for a while. But the one thing that you have to do a lot when you're working in media, in a magazine, or like even social media, you've got to attend media events. But back then it was media events for like traditional media, less influencer type media events. So I would attend a lot of media events as part of my job. And when you go for fashion media events, everyone around you is dressed to the nines. Like they're all dressed so well. And I feel like you will get judged if you're not dressed as well as them, because you're in the industry. So I don't really know if this is true social comparison, because sometimes I feel like it's a part of my job. Like if I'm not dressed the part, then why am I even working in fashion?
Right.
But when you're working in fashion, especially in media, your pay is so shit that like it would require me to not eat or do anything with my money for 3 months in a row to even afford a Chanel bag. So I don't know how people do it. I heard don't know if it's true or not, I heard some people in the industry took loans, personal loans, to afford those items.
What?
Yeah.
Wait, people take loans to buy what? Handbags? Clothes? That's insane. Because the fashion industry doesn't even pay much, right?
Nope. So you get higher up, it doesn't pay much. So that scared me a lot when I realized that people were taking loans and things like that. I knew even at that age that I would never, but it didn't. I feel like my career would be affected by it, by me not dressing the part.
Right.
Which fair enough, I guess. It's an industry thing and not just a social comparison thing.
Yeah. So you never really had that kind of social comparison that pushes you to spend more?
Not as much. I think it's more of like ads and media. Media in a sense, like when I see someone wear stuff on TV and I'm like, I like that. Or because social media wasn't that big when I was young and I never really YouTube was big, so all my social media influence was based off YouTube. So I follow a lot of like fashion YouTubers, but I feel like that isn't really social comparison. I feel like it's more advertisement.
Right.
Aside from YouTube, I don't really follow people on social media the way others do. I don't follow like
What do you mean by that?
influencers on
Right.
Instagram. For me, YouTube is where I go to find inspiration and education. Instagram is where I go to catch up on my friends' lives. So I think as everyone else was getting like extremely bombarded with images of other people and how they live their lives, I was just getting bombarded with images of my friends living their lives. And because I choose the people that are in my life well enough, I think, I don't know, like I wasn't cognizant, I wasn't cognizant of my choices. It just happened that the people in my life are not people that are as materialistic or...
Right. So you didn't see your friends like running around with expensive bags, doing expensive things and hanging out in like expensive hotels and all that?
I have friends who have expensive bags. Most of them have expensive bags, but none of them make you feel any less than for not having an expensive bag. Till this day, I only have 2 branded bags, one of which I've already sold off, and it was my biggest purchase regret. I think I said that in the previous video.
Oh wait, you sold it off? When?
I used this company called Style Theory.
Wait,
They help
when did you do it?
put the bag on sale with Style Theory 2 or 3 years ago,
Oh,
and they only recently...
it was recent, right? Because in the last
it was
episode,
only recently that they told me that they sold it off. But I bought, I was like for $100 or $200, like some shit amount.
Oh yeah, you said it in the last one else. Yeah.
Commercial break for this bubble tea that Aaron bought me. He bought me 0% sugar.
Trying to keep her healthy.
After being my sibling for multiple decades, he still does not know my bubble tea order.
Hey, if you don't want it, I can always drink it for you.
I'm going to beat you up.
You can always add sugar.
Who drinks 0% sugar?
I do.
You drink 0% sugar with Pearl, which has sugar. And when he doesn't add Pearl, he always takes 25% sugar. See, I know your bubble tea order. So speaking of prioritizing spending, let's talk about Ramit Sethi's guilt-free spending. Ramit Sethi is this like amazing finance guru. He's an author and he's the person that spurred me into action. After reading his book, that was when I started investing and getting my finances in check. So basically, the one thing he talks about is guilt-free spending. But how like in your financial system, you obviously have to like save and invest and everything else. But one part of your financial system would be the money you set aside for guilt-free spending, which, to quote him, spend extravagantly on the things you love and cut mercilessly on the things you hate. So he gives about like, I think he says like most people have about 3 different categories that he spends on. So he has 3 different categories. And today, let's talk about the 3 categories of things that we love. Aaron doesn't really have this system yet, so we're making him think on the spot. So I think the categories don't have to be as niche as like potato chips, for example, but it can't be as broad as like things that make me happy.
We shall see, we shall see. Sure, yeah.
So just give you some examples. Ramit Sethi's categories, from what I remember back then, was convenience, clothes, and one more thing. Convenience in the sense that he would pay extra, take cab everywhere versus taking a bus. He would pay for express lanes, things like that. So that's a priority for him. He likes clothes a lot, so he spends a lot of money on good quality, expensive clothes.
Right, understood. So I need to give my 3 categories, right?
Let me guess yours.
Let's see whether she can guess mine.
Tech is one category.
Yes, yes. I have a new iPhone every single year. but I don't have the latest MacBook. I don't have the latest iPad.
Which he whines about all the time. And if he makes more money, he will get it. What else?
Fair
Where
enough.
do you spend money? Oh, you would spend on friends, like activities with friends.
Yeah. I'll spend for activities with friends. I'll spend on tech.
Okay,
And
wait,
I think-
wait. Maybe you haven't even decided yet. Maybe I'm answering for you. You answer first. What are your 3 categories actually? I don't even know those first two are correct.
In any case, so my 3 things is tech,
Are.
activities with what?
3 things are. My 3 things
The 3 things I enjoy.
are.
The 3 things I enjoy. Number 1. I just refuse to let you correct my English.
It's wrong!
The 3 things I enjoy. 1, tech. If I could have all the money in the world, I would spend it on my phone, I would spend it on iPads, my MacBook, and watches, and all that stuff. And because
When he says watches, he means Apple Watch, not like Patek Philippe.
Number 2, it'll be activity with friends. And number 3 is convenience. Like, these are the 3 things. Like, I had to rush if I wanted to take the bus to go to church and be there on time, but I just took a cab.
For me, I feel like the categories have changed as I have gone through different stages of life. I think when I first heard about this like guilt-free spending categories thing, my initial categories were like clothes, convenience, very similar to Ramit Sethi, clothes, convenience, and activities with friends, like more of like F&B, food and beverage, including clubbing, like alcohol. That was my whole life. I spent most of my money on those 3 things. I think as I've gotten older, my categories have sort of shifted. Convenience is still one of it. Travel is another. And then clothes, I would say, is my last one. But I don't feel guilt-free when I'm spending on it. That's the thing.
Oh, but to be honest, I don't have any guilt-free I feel guilty every time I spend money.
Are you gonna read Ramit Sethi's book?
But it's because I still need to get the house, and I'm not there yet. That's why there's a sense of guilt. But once I got a house settled, maybe get a car. A car is because of convenience actually. Then after that, I will have guilt-free spending.
Okay, sorry, okay, maybe I used the wrong word. I guess I don't feel guilty when I'm spending on clothes. Not like guilt in a sense, but I feel like I don't prioritize it as much anymore. I think that I feel like I've been spending a lot more on travel, for example.
Right.
The other thing that I've been prioritizing is my face. So I've been spending a lot more money in prioritizing like.
But you still but you still look so ugly.
Okay. So I think my 3 categories as of this year, what I've realized that I have been spending on and prioritizing, beauty. So not makeup, but
Beauty.
like skincare and skincare treatments and beauty treatments, things like that. That's like a big thing that I've started to spend on this year in particular. Like anti-aging products, things like that, right? So they're more expensive, and beauty treatments in Korea, things like that. So that's one category. Second category, so I have been deprioritizing clothes a lot.
Right.
I haven't been spending as much on it.
So if there's a top 3 things, it's just not the top 1
Yeah.
anymore, right? It's like
And
traveling.
travel and convenience is still it. But even in convenience, I have been cutting down on taking cabs. I used to take cabs without thinking, to and fro. Now I usually, whenever possible, I'll take cabs out still, because Singapore's way too hot, and I don't like reaching anywhere sweaty and with my hair ruined. So I always take cabs out, but on the way back, I try to take public transport as much as possible.
Right. So you have a bit of a balance there as well,
A
right?
little bit, but the thing is that a lot of the times when I go out, I come back after the buses are closed anyway, so.
So you always cab back.
Yeah.
Oh, but cabs are so expensive nowadays.
Yeah. But so those are my 3 categories. Does that surprise you?
Not really. I mean, just looking at what you're spending on right now. That you put on clothes, you go out, you drink, you come back.
Yeah, but those are not. No, so that used to be my top 3.
Right. Then now you have like travel, right? So like I'm gonna travel soon, and she's gonna travel soon again.
Oh no, so back then, so for example, like to give you guys an example of how when you change your top category, how like I reprioritize my life. For example, back then, when F&B and hanging out with friends was the most important thing ever. Wherever my friends would want to go, I would go, and every single time we would be trying like new restaurants, like eating at expensive places, expensive wine, things like that. And it wouldn't bother me, and I was happy to do it. Right now, I don't do that very often anymore. I don't go out to eat expensive meals, very rarely, maybe with a few friends. With my friends, a lot of us, or whenever I meet them, we prioritize going to somewhere with affordable wines Like the food can be shit, so we would go at wine con a lot of the times, right? Like the food can be shit, or not shit, but like just not something new, something amazing, but affordable wine, a good time catching up with friends is the most important. And I would reject expensive dinners with friends. I have been rejecting expensive dinners with friends all the time now. I'm like, this is just not a priority for me. I would rather you guys eat and I join you for drinks. So in the past, I would be like, no, I only fly economy. I will only stay in very cheap hotels. Or when I'm overseas, I wouldn't do this, I wouldn't do that. But now I feel like when I'm overseas, I tend to spend more. I'm more willing to spend on travel than I was a few years ago. Okay, so you have to spend extra money on the things you love, right? But what are some things that you don't spend on? Because I like spend a lot of money, so it's very difficult for me to pick.
I don't spend money to get better flights. See, I spend on convenience, but I don't spend on comfort.
Yeah.
So like that's the difference. So I would save money and book a budget flight rather than paying more expensive for like a full carrier or like business class, because to me that isn't worth it. It doesn't make it more any convenient.
You don't spend on books either. You don't spend on games anymore. Games
I still spend money on games, yeah, but it's very, very little. It's like $5 to $6 a month.
Yeah, so like I think games would used to be in your category. When I was younger, I would buy like MapleStory cards, like hundreds and hundreds of dollars for MapleStory cards.
Well, I never went through that crazy phase, and even now as well.
No regrets.
Yeah, it's all wasted.
You don't spend money on food either.
I do spend money on food, but not a crazy amount. Again, it's always
not the way that I used to spend money on food.
Oh yeah, definitely not the way that you do. Yeah, but I do enjoy going to nice restaurants, nice cafe, and like eating food there. No, so sometimes when I go out with my fiance now, we eat like 5 hours and stuff like that. But not very often. It's like once a week.
Aaron thinks eating at 5 hours is considered spending a lot of money.
Yes. $30 to $50 per pax is like.
You will be horrified to know how much I used to spend on food. Like with my ex-boyfriend, when we go on like date nights, just like once a week, it would be always over $100 per person. I don't even know how it's like, I'm so confused because I don't spend that much of that money anymore, and I honestly don't understand how I used to be able to on my like measly salary, but I still saved money. So if back then, even when I was spending $100 per meal, I was still somehow saving 20% of my salary. Forced automated saving, so it's not like I could have changed it. Yeah, so I don't know how I made it work. I feel like cabs were cheaper back then, or something I don't understand, because I feel like I'm not even spending on food anymore, but I'm still spending so much money, like excluding the travels. I don't spend as much money on clothes anymore, but I still spend all my money. I don't know where it's going.
Man, cabs are so expensive, you know. I really hope this driverless revolution thing like becomes a real thing. Then all of our cabs can be driverless, and it'll be cheaper.
Next, things we regret spending on.
Clothes. Because I look ugly in all of them. I look ugly in all the clothes that I have.
Because you buy the wrong clothes.
Yeah.
No, and he also looks ugly in the clothes that he buys because sometimes he likes to buy like very cheap, lousy quality ones and they don't fit properly. Or he would buy clothes, he would try on the clothes, buy the clothes, and then like he decides that of course, the second he goes on a shopping haul, spends $200, he's like, this is the right month. This is. I want to change my body shape, so I'm going to go to the gym every single day for 2 months, and then after that, you can't fit in his clothes anymore. A lot of times, I regret spending on like packages. So the one thing which is why I really dislike going to places that push packages and have salespeople that push packages, which is one of the main reasons why I don't ever really do my hair or do facials and things like that in Singapore, ever do my nails, because I am someone that always like ends up getting persuaded into buying packages because I feel bad, and then like they keep hounding you the entire time, and like I'm like, oh shit, but then if I up, and it's always the person that's doing the shit for you that's trying to sell you the package. So I'm like, if I say no now, does that mean she's gonna screw up my hair because she's upset and I'm not ever gonna come back again? So I started panicking, and I always end up like accidentally buying a package.
Wait, when did this happen?
So many times when I was younger, I would buy like hair treatment packages, I would buy like facial packages, and I'll never ever finish them because I'm just not someone that is disciplined enough to go for these treatments every single month or whatever. I don't have time to go to a hair salon every month and then go to do my face every month. I just don't have that time. I always waste my money. I've bought so many packages and this I don't make this mistake anymore. But when I was younger, I was so many packages that I bought, and I've never finished a single one of any of my packages that I've ever bought, aside from IPL.
Right.
Yeah. So IPL was fine. Oh, but like, which is why I now go to Japan IPL, because I don't need to buy packages and no one sells me packages. Back then, IPL was the only thing that I did consistently enough to make use of my package.
Right.
Did I even Oh, sorry. No. I'm wrong.
So you
I'm wrong. No. IPL packages were unlimited. So I bought the unlimited IPL package. So it wasn't even like a legit package.
Oh.
Yeah, but it was good enough like that all the hair's gone.
Yeah. What about, wait, so all your hair things and your facial treatments, you didn't care about it to go back again?
I would go back a few times, but I just couldn't keep up with it. And there's always a new place that seemed better, or like sometimes there's just so much resentment in the fact that I spend money on them and they force me to spend money even though I didn't want to, that I don't even feel like going back to see their faces again. And I have very little like sunk cost fallacy. So my problem is that after I spend money on something, like I'm not someone that's gonna be like, oh, I spent money on this, so I have to use it to its very end. Like I'm really like, if I don't want, it's not bringing me happiness either way. The money is already wasted. So what the hell is the point?
Right.
So I do tell myself like, oh, I mean, it's still good for my hair, I should still go. But for example, one of the salons that I bought, so I got very pissed off, but there's nothing I can do about it. It's a place that I bought like a hair treatment from. This was quite a few years ago, like 7 years ago, I think. I bought a hair treatment package. They moved from Orchard to like Buona Vista.
So annoying.
Yeah, and it's so far away. I think I went twice, and both times I cab there, cab back. So my hair treatment ended up being like hundreds of dollars because of the freaking cab ride. And there's nothing else at Buona Vista for me to go to do like anyway.
Buy Gong Cha that has 25% sugar. Oh, but to be fair, Sarah really doesn't have this sunk cost fallacy thing. So recently we were trying a lot of productivity apps, and then she tried Akiflow. And then she got so convinced, she's like, you know what? Paying $20, $25 a month on it is way too much. So you know what? I'm going to pay like for the whole year instead, because it's going to save me money.
Oh, but it was quite cheap. It ended up being like, how much? Like $4 or $5 a month.
For what, 1 year, right?
Yeah.
So you pay like $60 or something like that, right?
Yeah.
So instead of paying like $20 a month or something to just try it out for a couple of months, she paid like $60 to buy the entire year. She used it for 2 weeks.
I used it for
3 weeks.
A month. Now Tick, which is the app that I currently use and was using before Akiflow, has the exact same thing as Akiflow. Like they had a new update. I don't have regrets, but the thing is that I would never force myself to continue using a product even if I have regret for buying it. It's just like how I'm not the kind of person that would force myself to eat food that I've ordered if I'm full. I'm absolutely against it.
Yeah, I don't like that as well.
And some people, so this is something that I get very annoyed when people are like, oh, there are starving people in Africa. Whether or not you eat your bowl of rice, they're still going to starve, okay? It's not that I over-order on purpose with the intention to waste food. But I've already ordered, the food's already cooked, it's already here. Me treating my body like a rubbish bin is not going to solve your problem. It's a waste.
Yeah.
It's not like...
all food that goes into you is a waste.
Yeah, so I get very triggered when people tell me that, especially when they use the starving children thing. Because the thing is that if you want to help starving children, then donate. But don't go around preaching that you should eat every grain of rice because people are starving, okay? It does not help. Okay?
Now you know how to trigger Sarah.
If you are eating every grain of rice and making sure everyone eats it because there are starving people elsewhere, then maybe you should use your energy on other things. Yeah, I guess that's it for me with regret. I think I have things that I regret on, but I'm not someone that really dwells too long on things that I regret.
I regret having you in my life.
You didn't have that choice. My regret. You better regret buying me this bubble tea. Huh?
Okay,
0%
I understand. I won't buy for you the next time because of course you're making me feel very regretful about it. Every time you buy for me, I say thank you, you know?
Because you know what? I buy the right order.
Then now I buy for you, you make me feel very regretful about it. What to do? So I don't buy for you anymore.
I also don't buy for you anymore.
No, and but I don't feel regretful.
And you know who will suffer more from this arrangement? You know why Aaron got my order wrong? You know why I always get his order right?
Oh my god, I know what you're gonna say. say it to the camera.
Because I'm always buying the bubble tea.
Yeah, she always buys for me, so she knows the order very well. I don't buy for her that often, so I get confused.
Double mistake.
Like, hey crap, she always gets what I get, right? Today I'm getting 0%, so I also get her 0%.
Okay, last thing on my list is how we stop ourselves from getting influenced to spend money. So I wrote down a few things that we like. And yours is Aaron does not use social media.
All right. Okay. So to be fair, so like context. When I say I don't use social media, I don't use social media in the way that I think most people use it because I don't go on and
Compare yourself to
I
other
don't-
people.
Yeah, I really just don't compare. But the thing is that a lot of times like comparison is very passive. When you see a lot of people doing something, in your mind that becomes the norm. Suddenly, doing this is the norm. Going for trips is the norm, dressing this way is the norm, having these things and experiencing these things are the
And to
norm.
be fair, it's not only social media, right? Like media has been prevalent, media has been around for all this while. So before social media, it was also like TV shows and things like that
Yeah.
cause people to compare the money that they have, they compare their relationships. For example, like K-drama
Yeah.
was so damaging to so many
Right.
relationships like, when we were younger.
Yeah.
Because a lot of girls would start comparing their boyfriends to fictional characters, or like girls on like, even I see younger girls on Book Talk, which is like TikTok's book like niche, and there are a lot of young girls there that read a lot of romance books, and the way that they talk about relationships, I'm also like, oh, that's not that great. There was a period in my life where I completely stopped reading any romance books, and I stopped watching romance TV shows and everything completely as well. I didn't watch a single one or read a single one for I think like 2 or 3 years to help reset my brain, like so that I kind of understand how relationships should be. And I think but that wasn't social media. I wasn't comparing to other people on social media. It was media, and I think that can also influence the way you spend money as well.
Yeah, definitely does. I know that it influences me as well. It will influence me, and it's not like I'm purposely comparing. It's just kind of like when you see it a lot and you see it very often, it changes what you view as the norm. So instead of developing your own sense of, okay, this is what I want, this is what I need, this is who I am, it kind of shapes you. So it doesn't come from those 3 things anymore. It comes from what you see, and those things shape what your view and the baseline is. And it does affect me a lot. And I realized that when I was in poly. Yeah, and so when I see everybody doing this, everybody in my school's doing that, everybody in my school's having this, and blah 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 blah, and then suddenly I feel like, oh, that's just normal. But that's only normal to those group of people. When I took that away and just did whatever I want, then I realized that, oh, what I view as normal and what I want is so different from what I see other people are doing. Yeah, and that's how I developed. And ever since then, I have toned down and toned back the way that I use social media as well.
It's also like depends on who you follow, right?
Yeah, it depends on your group of friends as well. Yeah.
And like for example, there are a lot of influencers online that they can be good influence as well. Lifestyle influencers that also are less. Well, I feel like you can find a balance. You know, there's some influencers that I follow that they portray an extremely extravagant lifestyle. They live the dream life or whatever. But I also balance it out. There are a lot of influencers that I follow that are more like down to earth.
Yeah.
They enjoy just staying at home, cooking. They don't really care about designer things. And so then it's a nice you can see that they are both happy. Or actually, usually the ones that are less materialistic sometimes are all superficial. That sometimes are even happy as well. So. It depends. It's like balance.
Yeah.
Yeah, but for me, same as you. So like, I don't follow too many influencers online on like Instagram.
Oh, but for me, it's not the influencers that influence me. It's more of like my friends or the people. They're now acquaintances because you follow a lot of people on Instagram throughout my the life. So it's like my acquaintances are the ones that develop that baseline. Not so much of influencers. Yeah, that's for me. Yeah.
I feel like none of my friends or many people that I follow on social media, I don't know if it's just because we've gotten older or people that I know are just not as active on social media in a show-offy way. Most of the people I know that post things on social media is like, oh, I'm at a barbecue with my friends, or I'm out with my friends, or like they don't really show like, oh, look, I bought a new thing. So I guess the people that you follow, regardless of whether it's the influencers or their friends, are important. There's a lot of people that do social media detoxes or social media like purges. So they just like unfollow a shit ton of people. Because if you're someone that gets influenced by it easily, then it's important.
Yeah, I do. So I just take it out.
Aaron doesn't follow any girls, also, as in like that kind of girls on social media.
You sound like I just don't follow girls.
You know how a lot of guys like to follow girls that post like pictures and things like that.
Oh yeah.
Aaron does not. I was quite shocked when I found that out too.
Yeah, I don't really do that.
Even when he's single.
Yeah. Because for me, I know that if I keep seeing that, then it will also change again what is the norm. And those girls are not the norm. And so I don't want to trick my brain into thinking and believing that is the norm, because then I'll be missing out on a lot of people, even when I was single. So actually, when I'm single, I really try my best to not follow these kind of people. Yeah, so that I don't twist what
So
the
when
norm
you're in a
is.
relationship, then you try to follow these people?
Nope, that's why I still don't follow anyone. But the temptation to do it when I'm single is more, because like, I'm not going to hurt anyone if I do it, but I still don't because I know
You hurt yourself. Self. Okay, aside from social media,
Right,
what
right.
else do you do to like stop yourself from spending too much money?
Be firm with my friends when I don't want to spend money. Like, hey, this like I've spent too much money this month. Like, even though they want to eat expensive, I'll tell them like, can we just go something cheaper? If they don't want to, I gotta say like, then I want to meet you for dinner, meet you afterwards or something like that.
Aaron has really good self-discipline, so as you can see, his way of stopping himself is just not spending.
Or go out less, right?
Yeah.
So like,
Yeah, very self-disciplined. For me, I need a lot more external things to help keep me disciplined. Like, I track my expenses, so I keep at least once a week. Sometimes if I'm slack, I try to do it with every single expense, every single time I spend. But sometimes I forget. I'll do it once a week or once a month. So every time I'll have to keep tracking my expenses so that I can physically see how much I'm spending.
Right.
Like give myself a lot of pain. Be like, oh, stop spending.
I can help you hear pain.
I need a lot of external help to not spend or to keep my discipline in check. Like tracking money.
You pass me all your bank account details and send me all the money, then I help you not spend.
For some people, an accountability partner would be a good way to stop spending. Accountability partners don't work for me.
Because she doesn't like to be held accountable for anything. Yeah.
I don't like to be held accountable to anyone else aside from myself.
She basically just doesn't want to be held accountable for all the shit that she does.
But I'm accountable to myself, which is why I still don't spend as much money as other people. This year, I'm saving like a lot of money. I'm forced to save like 50% of my income because of him.
See, accountability.
But the being forced to save is more like because our money is held together and it's just more inconvenient to split it right now. But it's not like a force where he's like, if you don't do this, I'm going to be angry, or like you should do this for no logical reason. Yeah, and I feel like sometimes when you have an accountability partner, you're just doing things without logic. You're just like, oh, because I said I'm going to do it, so I'm just going to do it. It's very hard for me to do things without me internally wanting to do it. Another way to not spend too much money, I think, would be like shopping lists. So for a lot of people, I think that works. Or
Right.
like a wish list where if something is above a certain price, you keep like a list of things that you want to buy, and then you sit on it. You're like, okay, if I really want this 3 months down the road, 6 months down the road, or 2 weeks from now, depending on the price and the urgency, then you buy it.
Yeah,
Yeah.
that makes sense. I don't really have a shop. Oh, I actually do.
Yeah,
I do have a wish
right?
list. I do.
You have a wish
yeah,
list.
yeah, yeah.
So he has a wish list.
Yeah, I've been sitting on the same.
for like years. So that's Aaron.
Oh no. So like this whole camera setup as well, like all the lens and stuff. Like it was on the wish list, and then after a while, I was like, yeah. But I did find a legitimate reason to get it though. So like, yeah.
One more other good strategy, I feel like for people with lack of self-discipline and they don't want to, lack of self-discipline like me, but they don't want to put too much work into external tools, would be automation. So you set up an automated amount that you want to save. So let's say it's like $600 a month or $1,000 a month. If it's automatically taken out of your account, then you just spend whatever else is in that account. So as long because you're already saving money, so you can spend as much as you want of that pool of money that you have, and then if you run out of money, you physically can't spend anymore.
Right.
So that's another way, I think.
Yeah. No, that's pretty smart.
Yeah.
Unless you're on credit card, then you just end up in credit card debt.
Yeah, then so people like that, please use a debit card.
Yeah.
Like no number of miles is worth going to that.
Yeah, so I think that wraps up today's episode.
Yeah.
Sort of. Interesting. Pretty light as well. We will get into deeper stuff like in the next few episodes. Alright, so that's it for today, guys. Ciao.
Bye.